Members, welcome to this podcast. I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the lands on which we meet. Members, there is movement at last on our agreement. No doubt this is in part a consequence of the campaigning activities you have participated in. We acknowledge this and thank you. By now you will be aware that an agreement in principle has been reached between the Union and DET for a proposed replacement agreement. This agreement in principle came about due to the Chief Commissioner of the West Australian Industrial Relations Commission, Mr Tony Beach, initiating and facilitating further discussions between the parties on Friday, July 11. Because the negotiating team agreed they could take this improved proposal back to Executive and support its endorsement by Executive, relevant documents were developed for presentation to Executive. Executive met and considered the developments in a lengthy meeting on Thursday, 17th of July. Executive agreed to send the agreement in principle out to you, the members, for a vote. Executive have considered the contents of this proposed agreement. They have weighed up this proposed agreement against DET's proposed enterprise order and the second offer. They have considered arbitration and all that it means. Executive are recommending that members vote to accept the agreement in principle as a replacement agreement for the 2006 EBA. As I speak, the parties are finalising the relevant documents, the agreement in principle and the updated Teachers Award. As soon as this and supporting documents from the Union are ready, they will be sent to schools for your consideration. A period of 20 working days will be available for voting. Now for a briefing on the contents. Salary increases proposed are 4.5% in July 08, 4.5% in June 09, 4% in June 10 and a further 2% in February 11. This is 2% more than would have been delivered in the second offer. More importantly, our log of claims benchmark to have WA teachers at the top of the automatic incremental salary scale being the best paid in Australia has been achieved. A structural adjustment will give further salary increases to teachers from Level 2.3 to Level 3 Classroom Teacher 3.1 in February 10. At this time, Senior Teacher 1 will become part of the automatic teacher salary scale. This means those currently at Level 2.4 will get a 21.67% increase during the life of the agreement. Any teachers on Senior Teacher 1 will move immediately to Senior Teacher 2 in February 10. Also, a group of about 400 advanced skills teachers will be able to move to Senior Teacher 2 in February 2010. Those at Senior Teacher 2 will get a 19.37% increase. Teachers currently at Level 1.6 are benefiting from the shift of the commencement level from Level 1.5 to Level 1.6 and the increased graduate allowance. Everyone on Level 1.6 this year will get a further $1,600 graduate allowance in 2009. Administrators will get a 17.56% salary increase over the life of this agreement. This means increases of between $15,000 and $20,000. Career path development and administrator classification review provide opportunities for further salary improvements in the life of this agreement. Primary dot. From a position of no to dot, we now have a possibility of 20 minutes with 10 minutes in 2009 and a further 10 minutes in 2011. This is consistent with the ongoing move towards dot equity. For HODs, there has been a response to workload issues with provision of 90 minutes of clerical support per HOD per week. A restructured Employee Relations Executive Committee pulling in change management is proposed. High-level regular consultative meetings directly between the Union and DET will occur. Workload alleviation and further career path development are two key aspects of this committee's work. Allowances. The second offer allowances were withdrawn in January. During negotiations this year, increases were halved. This proposal returns the quantum to that of the second offer increases of $4,000 per year. Establishment of explicit and transparent criteria, application of the criteria to all rural areas and a review have resulted in all current RTS schools remaining in the RTS, an increase in the number of CTP schools, but movement of some either to another band or out of CTP, an increase in the number of MTP schools. If your school is moved from the CTP, a no disadvantage clause will protect your allowances. Allowances will be increased in 2009. RTS allowances range from $14,000 to $19,000. CTP allowances range from $7,312 to $12,500. MTP allowances are $3,000 or $2,000. Country incentives, permanency on appointment retained, an extra flight per year for RTS, additional bereavement leave in RTS, additional sick leave retained in CTP and RTS, improved removal allowances and travel for bereavement leave, RTS satellite dishes and professional development for country teachers. Professional issues and resourcing. In Debt's Enterprise Order, it is proposing the removal of a considerable number of clauses this union has fought for over a number of agreements. These clauses bring resources into schools, opportunities for teachers and administrators, and enable the union to be an active participant in influencing education directions. This agreement in principle ensures these clauses remain in our agreement. They include student management, VET, OSH, ITC, workload, building inclusive schools, performance management, permanency and tenure, reporting and curriculum, courses of study, post-compulsory, and the Professional Learning Institute. Other points to be noted. This proposal includes 15 hours of PD outside of school time. The parties will develop agreed guidelines for management. You will note in Debt's Enterprise Order they are seeking 15 hours PD plus 1 hour meeting each week. The Teacher Duties and Responsibilities clause will have some elements removed to the teacher award, but overall content will remain the same. In Debt's Enterprise Order, they seek more expansive controls of teachers' time. The Operational Framework Clause has changes. The operational hours for schools outside of the normal school day is proposed to be 1 hour longer than in the current agreement. Please read this clause carefully. It applies to secondary schools. It is not intended to capture the majority of teachers and classes. Teachers can choose not to work these hours. Conditions such as hours of work, etc. are protected. Guidelines will be developed between the parties on this matter. Eric will be kept apprised of developments. A review of such arrangements will be conducted. This proposed clause, in fact, provides a tighter approach to that of the current clause. Many schools have already taken up this approach. I have just provided you with a brief outline of matters. Further details will come with voting materials. Presentations will be made at district councils and other forums. Executive have considered the contents of this proposed agreement. They have weighed up this proposed agreement against Debt's Enterprise Order and the second offer. They have considered arbitration and all that it means. Executive are recommending that members vote to accept the agreement in principle as a replacement for the 2006 EBA. Is Executive saying this is all we wanted? No. Is Executive saying this is the end of matters? No. Executive will be working post a new EBA, continuing to draw attention to and seeking solutions for teacher shortage, workload, career path expansion and a range of other matters, including the Country Housing Campaign, which is currently collecting relevant data on housing during this term. Is Executive saying support this proposed agreement in principle? In weighing up the content, considering the context, and making on-balance judgments with regard to outcomes of a no vote, Executive recommends that the membership vote yes. We urge that you view the documents, consider the contents, weigh the options, determine how you will vote and vote. Thank you, members.